what's going on in the world. Like I told you guys, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam never protested. And a lot of people will ask, why didn't he? When people who know history like me, we know that the Romans always protested. We know that the Arabs protested. The Arabs would go to the Kaaba. The Kaaba was the center of everything. And if there was something that they didn't like, that another tribe was doing, or there was something that they didn't like, they would go to the Kaaba and stand up on a box. They would stand up on boxes and protest, speak out against it. And then they would try to incite others to stand with them and speak out against it. So protesting was always done because it was something that the Romans invented. The Romans were the ones that, and the Greeks had this democracy, okay, that has swept all over, speaking out. But so a lot of people who do know history, like myself, would say, well, why come the Prophet never protested and you don't find any hadiths of the companions doing it? Well, there's many reasons why, and like I said, the number one is Islam is all about wala wal bara, allegiance, strengthening and showing solidarity and unity. And the Prophet taught us, once you convert to this religion, once you embrace this religion in sincerity, your trials will begin. Because Allah tells us, just because we say we believe in him ain't enough. We got to prove it. So once you declare your la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, Allah will begin to test you. And all of our tests are different because out of Allah's mercy, he's going to test you in accordance to where you are in your belief system. And that's why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said those who are strongest in their faith are tested the most severe. And so the Prophet knew this. So why would he protest against one select group of people when he knew that all believers on earth are being tested in some way? And it's severe. Yes, the worst thing is death. We know that. War, death, destruction. But Allah is not going to put a burden on any of us we can't bear. Those people are stronger in their faith than anybody else on this planet right now. That's why their test is the worst. Those Muslims in Palestine who believe in Allah out of sincerity. Those Muslims in Burma who believe in Allah in sincerity. Those Muslims in Yemen, by the way, who are still being bombed by America. Those Muslims in Yemen are stronger in their faith than anyone else. Those Muslims who are still in concentration camps and being abused in China, they're the strongest in Iman. So that's why their trials, their calamities are so horrific. But that does not mean that other people's trials are not great for them too. So you look at what's going on in those parts of the world, also Africa, the Muslims in Nigeria, the Muslims in Somalia, the Muslims in, I just heard about something going on in Uganda. The Muslims are being persecuted in different ways all over the world. Because Allah said, I will test you with hardship, but I'm so merciful, I'm going to do it on your level. Well, we got Muslims here in America, in the United Kingdom, in Australia, in South Africa. We're Western countries, but we're being tested too, according to our faith. My faith, that's why Allah is testing me with my money. My money, that's a calamity for me. Now it may not be a calamity for you. Your calamity could be your health. Like Sister Jamila, the most important thing to her is her health. The most important thing to her is life, because she's an older sister. She wants to live. She wants to live another day to earn her Lord's grace and mercy. So that's her trial. Money ain't no issue with her. Money she could care less about. But where her iman is, it's her life, her health. Me, my money. That sister over there is being tested with her children. She got a son who won't stop selling drugs. She got a daughter that's sneaking out the house, having sex with the neighbors. And she raised them Muslim. So Allah is going to test us all. So this is why the prophet didn't protest. Because like he said, anyone who declares La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, your trials will begin. You will be tested, he said, until you die and you are forgiven of all your sins. Like those Palestinians who do believe La ilaha illallah, because not all of them. Yes, you will look on TV and you will see a lot of those Palestinians. Remember, Allah says he sends war. And one of the reasons he sends it is so we can see who the true believers are. Yes, now the Zionists are showing videos of Muslim women acting crazy. You see Muslim women talking to the dead, beating their faces. That's what I saw this morning. Some of those are the weak ones. Not all the Palestinians are strong and hard and tough. You got some weak ones too. Allah says, I'm going to show you who the hypocrites are and who the true believers are. Those true believers are the ones we should focus on. Don't focus on those Muslim women who they're showing now, who's screaming and hollering, acting like the Arabs have been cursed for doing. They had one woman throwing dirt over her hair. That's pagan crap. Not accepting the Qadr. Don't focus on them. Focus on the ones like that man they had on TV yesterday who was asleep with his sons in his house. And a rocket came down and both sons were killed instantly. And he survived and he said, you know, they died a good death. Number one, they died in their sleep. Number two, I raised my sons upon Siratul Mustaqim. My sons prayed every day. They memorized the Quran. They loved Allah and they loved the Prophet Muhammad. He said, so my sons, inshallah, are now with that prophet who they honored. They spent their life honoring the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Focus on those believers like him. Don't focus on the women that's acting ignorant. Women are ignorant anyway. That's why it's going to be more women in hell than men. Okay? Focus on the believer. So this is why I believe the prophet didn't do that protesting crap. He let the Kafirs protest. He let the unbelieving pagan Arabs protest against what the Quraysh were doing. He let the Christians in Abyssinia protest like they did against how the Quraysh were treating the people that believed in Allah. He let the Christians in Yemen protest against how they were doing those people that believed in God, Allah. The prophet was a mastermind, intelligent man. And being an ex-unionist, I see the beauty in his reasoning. Because one thing about your enemy, when they see that their leaders amongst them, their people are speaking out against the corruption they're doing, that's going to make them think twice. Because their thing is to destroy us. But when their people is revealing them to be what they are, remember too, there's another hadith. Pay attention closely. I don't hear no brothers quote this. This hadith is authentic. It's in Sahih Muslim. I quote it all the time. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said there are 5 things that the Christians have about them that are praiseworthy. And because of those 5 things they have about them, this is why they will always be the majority on earth. One of those 5 things is they do not allow their leaders to oppress them. When the Christians unveil the reality of their leaders being oppressors, what do the Christians do? They take them out. They kill them. They assassinate them. They take them out. The prophet was talking to us, this generation. When he made that hadith, he was speaking about us, for us to remember this. They'll always be the majority. And that's what I say. Let those Christians speak out. Let them do the protesting like the prophet did. He let the Christians protest on their behalf. He let the pagans protest. Because all of us, Muslims, any one of us who sincerely believes in Allah, we're going through some drama. Do y'all know right now as we speak, there are certain freedoms here in America that we take for granted. The way I'm speaking to y'all, I can only speak this way here. If I spoke this way anywhere else, I'd be imprisoned. America gives you that freedom of speech, okay? But other countries don't, even in Europe. Do you guys know that there are brothers who are like Layla, who are trying to speak out the way I am about what's going on, but they can't? They're being arrested. They're being imprisoned. They're being labeled terrorists. They're under attack. So that's another reason why you don't see male scholars from other parts of the world speaking out like me. Because they can't. They're censored. They're being arrested. They're being dubbed terrorists. They're being watched. Their families under scrutiny. Okay? That's another reason why the prophet said, let them speak. That's another reason why he didn't protest probably. Why bring more repercussions on us? There's repercussions for what we do. We're going to always be scrutinized. Let the Christians and the Jews handle the protests. They're doing a better job than we are. Because number one, when we protest, all we're doing is showing hypocrisy. Because most of the women that are protesting ain't even wearing a hijab. Most of the brothers ain't been to a masajid in years. Plus, we can't control our anger. Like the prophet said, our anger will always get the better of us. We can't control our emotions like the Christians can too. That's another thing they have over us. The prophet said the Christians are quick to recover from oppression. We have a hard time recovering. When Allah sends calamities upon them, they come back quick and think and deal. We don't. We're too emotional. We can't handle protesting. We end up being stupid, tearing down people's Starbucks stores when we're too dumb to know that a Starbucks is not owned by Israel. Starbucks is right here in America, owned by whoever franchised it, whoever bought it. That's their store. That's their money. That's not Israel's money. That's theirs, their family. We're too stupid to know that because we don't know about business. So Muslims are protesting and tearing up people's Starbucks stores. Some Muslim Starbucks store who he worked hard to save up $20,000 so he could buy that franchise. You dummy. You ain't hurting no Israel. Are you crazy? Get a clue. Go home. So for these reasons and many more, that's why the prophet didn't do that crap. That's why the companions didn't. The prophet told us we're too emotionally attached to stuff. Let the Christians and the Jews and the non-believers handle that. And instead, he told the companions what we need to work on is Al-Bara, our allegiance and our disassociation. We've gotten here because we've become too close to the non-believers. We've adopted their lifestyle. We've adopted their dress. We've adopted their way of thinking, and that's why we're here. We lost the Muslim identity, and we've taken on the identity of a non-Muslim. That's why we're here. That's why you protesting. That's why you're boycotting. The Prophet didn't boycott either, because he knew boycotting, unless the whole world do it, you ain't hurting nobody but your family, yourself. That's ignorant too. Muslims got to get a clue. They got to learn about economics. You need to go to school, get a degree in business, learn how the money works, how learn about foreign trade. Foreign trade. That trade is not from you and me, it's from the government of each country. Man, people, get a clue. Do you know America's trading arms, been trading arms to support terrorism for years? Come on, people, we're not in control of that. You ain't hurting no Israel by boycotting, by protesting. You're just hurting yourself, each other. That Muslim store that y'all tore down in New York, that Starbucks that belonged to that Muslim man and his family. Idiots. And that's what today's lecture is about. We are still in chapter 13 of the book. Let me make sure. We're still in chapter 13 of the book, Diluting Al-Bara. And let me make sure that I got it up on the screen. Yeah, because we got some new people. And by the way, excuse me, let me do a little introduction, because I noticed that my viewers are growing every day and I'm getting more and more viewers. I just want to tell young brothers here, because a couple of brothers here, let me log, where is it at? A couple of brothers here sent me an emails saying, Sister Laila, why is it that we don't have that many brothers speaking out? They can't. They're censored. Not the ones in America. I'm talking about the other brothers overseas in different parts of the world. These brothers are censored, guys. They can't speak out like me with all this passion. Y'all see this passion I have? This is me. I'm a dawah, and I'm a unionist, and I'm a Muslim, and hey, I grew up in the 60s, you know, Black power, you know, Islam power was my thing, you know. This ain't about no Elijah Muhammad. No, I represent true Islam. You know, I grew up in the 60s, the civil rights days. Okay, so I can, here in America, I can show my passion. But these other brothers in Europe and Australia and other parts of the world are censored. When they do speak like me, passionately, they got the government arresting them as terrorists, as supporters of Hamas and crap, when they're not even supporting Hamas. They can't say anything that's pro-Palestinian in these other parts of the world. And then in the Muslim lands is even worse, because the Muslim government has them sanctioned. They don't have freedom of speech in none of the Muslim lands, period. You're going to go to jail. So that's why, to answer the question that these young brothers sent me, that's why you don't hear that many. And the American Muslims just don't have the education. I'm sorry. They go to school. They get these online degrees in Islam, but they don't understand that Al-Furqan is a gift that comes from Allah, not from man. You can get a PhD in Islam from anybody's school, but you will never get Al-Furqan unless Allah gives it to you. And Allah says he only gives it to a few. So a lot of these brothers here don't know how to speak anyway. They don't even understand what the lawful and the unlawful is. Remember, many of them are the reasons why we're here. They're the ones that was telling you to vote. They're the ones that put us in this situation. They're the ones that told y'all to vote for Obama and all that dumb stuff. When Allah says, and the Prophet said, we can never vote to have a non-Muslim over us. because they'll never have our interests at heart. And by the way, this stuff didn't just start now. This was going on with Obama too. He's anti-Islam too. They all are, like Allah said. He put a lot of this stuff in motion. Yes, he did. And y'all voted for him. Listening to these stupid Muslims over here who don't understand what La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah means. So that's why you don't hear people speaking out like me with all this passion. There are here in America a few brothers, a couple trying to, but their English ain't good. They don't have command of the language like me. They weren't trained to make their voices rise and fall, to stir the hearts. They're too boring. People like passion. Why is it that America's the superpower? They're passionate people. They love to hear people like me speak. This is how we speak here. Passion. Get your heart pumping. And these brothers are foreign. They don't have that passion in their speech. They don't know it. And then the American brothers don't have the religious knowledge. So it's just a twisted world. Okay? But alhamdulillah, you guys are here learning from this book entitled Diluting. Diluting. And where is it at? Let me put it up there. Diluting well better. And by the way, please get a copy of the book. You can go out where I got a thing for it. Where is it? Amazon. Yeah, Amazon.com. The sister here is asking me. Yeah. Wait a minute. I'm going to give you the whole title. I got a thing for it up here. I just can't find it. Oh, here it is. That's the title, sister. You see it? Diluting. That's how she asked me how to spell it. That's how you spell it. Diluting Wala Al-Bara. And the book is written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. You can get this book off of Amazon. This book is the second of the trilogy, which defines our belief system, which is that shahada that we pronounce many times a day when we pray. If you know the tashahhud. By the way, y'all better learn that tashahhud. Okay, in Arabic. Okay. All right, so we're on chapter 13 of this book, which explains how we got to this point in history of where we are today. We've distanced ourselves from the wrong people. We've distanced ourselves from ourselves instead of the non-believers over the years. We've distanced ourselves from Allah. Okay, and today we're going to focus in on the number one thing that led to this is our imitation. Our imitation of the kafir. And by the way, took that Halloween stuff. Yeah, that was Halloween, wasn't it? Yeah, the brother said he wanted to see it again. Yeah, look at this. They put this on. That's Halloween crap. Uh-huh. You see it? Yeah, so I took it off. The kafirs, I tell y'all, they will sneak into your stream. Y'all got to look, even when we're streaming, man. I mean, what is that? They just added that today? Subhanallah, subhanallah. I tell you, this is why the believer, we can't lower our guard at all. We can't turn our back on the battlefield. The world is a battlefield, guys. We got to be on guard. Even on my stream, they threw in some Halloween stuff. Is it going to be Christmas next time too? Oh, Lord, look out for Rudolph. Oh, God. Frosty the Snowman. Oh, he going to get burnt. I got little kids in here, y'all. These brothers are great. Hold on. These are the brothers from off of D-Line. How old are you, brothers? Y'all making me laugh. This is my class, dude. The brother said he likes to see me laugh rather than see me cry. Oh, well, yeah, life. Anyway, let's put the PowerPoint up. Yeah, I took it off. This Halloween crap. They got a bunch of it up here. We got to look out for Rudolph next. Okay, PowerPoint. Here we go. Woo, another screen. Zoom is the best. I love my Zoom. What will we do without it? Okay, here's the PowerPoint. One of the reasons as to why we have gotten to where we are today, guys, is because of this imitation, talking about Halloween. Hello, how many of you Muslims listening to me are letting your children dress up like kafir shayateen because it's Halloween season? I understand a lot of you masajids. Look at this innovation they're doing in America. This is for the diet that's listening to me overseas. I got some brothers here from Saudi Arabia. I want to welcome you too. I got some brothers here from the Emirates and sisters. Y'all know I love y'all. You know, and I got some from Kuwait. Y'all want to know what they're doing in America? What the masajids are doing here? They having Halloween parties, but they're calling it movie night. So on Halloween, all the kids can come to the mosque and watch Freddy Krueger. Halloween. And some of the masajids got the kids wearing costumes. Oh yeah, I got that phone call today too. There's some masajids here in America are telling the kids, dress up however you want to dress up. Come to the mosque. There is movie night. We're going to have popcorn, candy. We're going to pass out candy. We'll even do some apple bobbing. Oh, yeah. The sister showed me the flyer. The sister sent me an email with the flyer. Even apple bobbing. It's called movie night. See, this is how we've gotten to where we are today. Imitating the non-believers, taking on their identity. We have stripped ourselves of our Muslim identity to the point that we don't even know what's haram and what's not. There's Muslim men that'll tell you that the way I look is haram because I have on a little $10 hijab, $10 abaya, you know, and it's got a little bling on it. And because I got on my kohol, that I'm haram. I'm going to hell. Oh, no, ain't nothing haram about me. I'm about as lawful as they get, dude. Just ain't lawful for you. Because you ain't where I am in my knowledge and understanding. You can forget this. You better stick with your Nicki Minaj. That's about as close as you'll get. Okay? But we've taken on the identity of the kafir to the point that we not only don't have our own identity, but we don't know our religion. We don't know what's lawful for a woman, what's unlawful for a woman, what's lawful for a man. Men don't know that they're supposed to be the provider maintainers. They got their wives out working while they sit at home and take care of the children. That's going on here in America, brothers in Saudi. Check it out. But anyway, let's put the PowerPoint up and we're going to talk in detail about this. Whenever, as Muslims, whenever we fail to maintain our Islamic boundaries, this leads to violations of Al-Bara or violations of distancing. Okay? And many of us fail to maintain the boundaries of culture. We got to understand that Islam encourages us to respect and appreciate the diverse cultures and customs of other people. Now, I want all the Muslim children listening to me to take notes. You are a Muslim. Your culture is Islam. Islam is not just a religion, but it is also a way of life. For each and every one of us, this is our culture. It's my culture to dress the way I dress. It's my culture to believe in Allah. It's my culture to obey him. It's my culture to have the manners that he commands. It's my culture. I don't know what culture you Muslims come from, but in my culture, a Muslim woman can give dawah. But when she gives it, she has to make sure that her voice is strong, like mine is. That's my culture. I don't know what your culture is, but that's mine. So Islam is our culture. But because it's our culture does not mean that we disrespect other people's culture. We don't disrespect them. But there's a thin line between mimicking and respecting. What we've done over the years is we've respected the non-Muslim culture to the point that we've mimicked them and let go of our own belief system and our own culture. And that's where we've gone wrong. As Muslims, we have to differentiate between cultural practices that go against Islam and cultural practices that don't. Let me give an example. A lot of the Africans I have, Nigerians, a lot of the Nigerian Muslims I have here, one of their cultural things is to bow down to their parents, to bow down to the elderly, to bow down to a person of respect. They'll do a bow. You know, bowing is an action of worship. And all actions of worship are reserved for Allah. So we don't bow before our parents. We don't bow before our elders. You know, so even if it's the pagan culture of Nigeria to bow, you have to separate that from Islam. No. I don't care what your fathers taught you, what your forefathers did. I cannot bow to you. You are my mother. You are my father. I love you. I respect you. And I will always honor you. But you are not Allah. And I will never bow to you. And you should be proud of that because you raised me to be a Muslim. I don't bow to anyone but Allah. So that's an example. When it comes to cultural practices that violate our Islamic belief, then we don't indulge in them. Y'all understand that? We don't indulge in them. There's a lot of Arabic cultural things that many Arabs still deal with. And I have to always, I can use my family as an example. One of the things that I do fall out with people in my family is this thing about having the same father. Polygamy's always existed. Allah just set rules and guidelines. Well, before Islam, before the Prophet Muhammad received the call to prophethood, they would separate themselves because you got a different father, because you are my half brother. That means you have no rights over me or you're not the same. That's garbage. The Prophet taught blood is blood. Whether he's got the same mother and father or just one of them, he's still your brother. So this is something that I have had to check people about. Just because my father is different than his father don't mean that he ain't my brother. Who told you that crap? That's my brother. My blood runs through him. His blood runs through me. He's my brother. Or just because that one there got a different mother, what do you mean that she's not my sister? Are you crazy? That's paganry. That's pre-Arabic, pre-Islamic crap. That's Jahiliyyah. That's tribalism. That's garbage. So I have to check him. That's a problem amongst the area. Oh, he has a different, he's just your half brother. Half brother is the same as full brother. What do you mean? He's still my brother. Don't you dare refer to anybody in my family as being my half anything. He's my brother. Mess with him, you're going to deal with me. Period. Dot. And we all look alike too. Oh, I had to deal with that. In my family, we all look alike. But yeah, you come upon some ignorant Arabs. Oh, he's your half brother. No, he's my brother. Cut us open. Same blood. Idiots. So cultural stuff that contradicts our Islamic beliefs, we separate ourselves from that. But we're supposed to, but that's not how it's been. Over the years, we've mimicked the non-Muslims. We've taken on their traditions. We've taken on their practices. Subhanallah, look how many African-American young boys are walking around with dreadlocks. Look how many African-American women who convert to Islam got dreadlocks. Dreadlocks are haram. Why? Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said anyone who has hair on their head is supposed to take care of it. You have to comb it, brush it, oil it on a daily, regular basis, and wash it. And Allah hates ugliness. The jinn walk around with their hair and dreadlocks. The Prophet said, be the opposite of the jinn. That's why it's haram. Those are the dalil. Plus, it's imitating the kafir. It's what the Rastafarians do to scare off their enemies. We don't take on their cultural ways. You go to some places like Jamaica, Haiti, and you see all these Muslims walking around in dread. It's disgusting. Here in America, because you converted to Islam and you don't want to comb your hair, or because you wear a hijab, you're going to just let your hair knot up. That's how the jinn do. They allow their hair to knot up. The Prophet said, be the opposite of the jinn. Don't walk around with your hair knotted up. Those hadiths are all Bukhari and Muslim. Those hadiths are Bukhari and Muslim. Dreadlocks are haram, but this is a cultural practice that many Muslims have taken on. Look at our Muslim youths walking around with their pants underneath their derriere. Look at the Muslim women walking around, with those eyelashes on, going to the moon, tight pants showing their big behinds, tight tops emphasizing their breasts. You've mimicked the dress, the behavior of the non-believers. So culture, this is how we've gotten there. Also, another reason why we are where we are today is we transgress the boundaries of our religion. Remember, as Muslims, it's important to maintain our distinct religious identity. And we do that by adhering to the teachings of the Quran and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we've deviated away from that. We've mimicked other religious rituals like these Muslims have done here in America with these holidays. Movie night in place of Halloween. Movie night in place of Christmas. Movie night so we can get a Muslim kid something to do. So the Muslim children don't feel left out. You've mimicked them. You've transgressed the limits of your religion. Also celebrating birthdays. You're going to celebrate birthdays? This is an action of worship. This is haram. The Prophet was clear. Don't make the mistake that the Christians and Jews make by worshiping men, worshiping women, celebrating births and deaths of people. Subhanallah. But we Muslims we just want the children. No, the children are no excuse. That's why the children grow up in apostate. So as Muslims, we respect the other people's freedom to practice their religion however they do. If they want to do Halloween, the Christians want to do Christmas, that's their business. But we're not going to mimic them. We're not going to adapt their lifestyle. But unfortunately, we've done that. And that's why we are where we are today. Also, the intention behind mimicking non-Muslims is very significant, guys. If the intention is to make fun of them, then it goes against Islam. And if the intention is to be like them, that goes against Islam too. And so as Muslims, we have failed to maintain that balance. You got the Muslims on the left who make fun of everything the Kafirs do, which is wrong. We're not supposed to do that. Allah hates oppression. Then we have the Muslims on the extreme right. What do? The Muslims on the extreme right, they mimic them. They imitate them. We have to strike the balance. We have to know where our allegiance lies. Okay, we're not going to be oppressive towards other people. We're not going to make fun of them. We're not going to belittle them. But at the same time, we're not going to mimic them and be a part of them either. We haven't been able to maintain that balance. And that's why we are where we are today. That's why Muslims are messed up. That's why our children are growing up and apostating. That's why we don't know what the lawful and unlawful is. That's why we don't even know how to pray. And also, we have to be mindful of the influences and the values that we adopt from the non-Muslims. Remember, I tell you guys, and I prove it to you every day, there is no question that any Muslim living on this planet today can come up with that has not already been addressed by the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or his companions. But instead of us learning what he said, what his answers were, instead of us learning what his companions' responses were, we've replaced it with fatwas. Fatwas from the men and women of today. Fatwas from the men and women of today. We've taken on the values of society, the values of our celebrity Muslim scholars of today, instead of the values, the true values that our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with. Okay, so we as Muslims are supposed to be mindful of the influences and values that we adopt from others, because our way of life already gives us a comprehensive framework to live by, but we haven't been living by it. Like I said, it makes me so sad to see that Muslim women don't even know what's lawful for them to wear. What's lawful for them to wear. I mean, subhanAllah. We know the brothers and don't know. They don't want you to be nice looking anyway. The brothers got issues. They don't even understand that the beard is an obligation. They don't understand that they look better with that beard on than with it all. So who cares what the brothers think about how you're supposed to look? What did the law say as to how you're supposed to look as a Muslim woman? We should be doing everything to please Allah first and foremost. Allah comes before your husband even. I'm going to please Allah first and foremost. And then you, brother. Allah loves beauty. And I know you do too, babe. So I'm going to make sure that I look good when I walk out this house, because Allah loves beauty. And I'm supposed to emulate that. And I know by me emulating my Lord, I'm making you look good too, Aki. Y'all sisters got to know how to work that. All right. Again, this is all part of the Muslim identity. As Muslims, our identity is unique and separate from the non-Muslims. We don't dress like them. We don't talk like them. We don't walk like them. We don't live like them. We don't behave like them. We don't believe like them. We're separate. In fact, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said we're supposed to be distinct. We're supposed to stand out over them. Something that I've always told my students, you put a Muslim in a crowd of 100 people, that one Muslim should stand out, not just because of the dress, but because of the way they speak, the way they carry themselves, their behavior. I'll never forget. I remember back 10 years ago when they had a terrible blizzard. I was supposed to be going to Texas, okay, for a conference. I got stranded at that airport. Y'all remember that? This airport, the Dayton airport, was packed with hundreds and hundreds of travelers because it was around that Christmas time. Okay, the kids were going home, coming home from college. So people were trying to get home for the holidays. And this Muslim woman, I had just got off work because I worked third shift, went home, got my luggage, and I was trapped. They got the worst snow blizzard in years in Dayton. There doesn't snow much there. It snows here in Cleveland, but not in Dayton, Southern Ohio. And I'm sitting there dressed like I am now, except I had a fur coat on too. I wear red foxtail. I had on my foxtail coat looking like this. And the news cameras came. Out of all those hundreds and hundreds of people stranded for the weekend, and I'm sitting by myself in a corner on my cell phone texting. I think I was texting my mother or somebody saying I'm stranded and how I was having an anxiety attack. Always got anxiety. And I'm minding my business, and here come all the lights and cameras. Like, what? Out of all them people in the airport, they didn't go to the Kafirs. They came to this Muslim woman sitting here with her fur coat, texting. They wanted to know my opinion. So I just told them. I said, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I said, one thing about Cleveland, we get snowed in all the time, but there's cots. I said, I've never been to an airport before where here we are snowed in. We're stuck here for the whole weekend. There's no cots. There's not even a Starbucks. I said, we can't even get hot chocolate. There's no stores open in here. I mean, it's like the end of the world. I said, in Cleveland, we get snowed in all the time, but life still goes on. That we have coffee, we have hot chocolate, the vending machines are open, and we even have cots we can lay down on. That was my interview. Where you work at? Oh, I work for the state of Ohio. I gave my ID badge. Laila Nasheeba, state of Ohio, keeping it real. Solidarity. Because I was a unionist. Solidarity. A half hour later, my phone was blowing up. My co-workers, Laila, you on TV. Laila, you on TV. And here comes cots. I don't know where those cots came from. I don't know where the coffee came from, but here came a Starbucks cart came in. They had coffee, they had chocolate. We were stranded the whole weekend, and we had cots to lay in. But I found it amazing. I said, out of all these hundreds of people stuck in this airport, they came to me. And I'm sitting in a corner by myself, trying not to have an anxiety attack. That's how it's supposed to be. When you are Muslim, one Muslim out of 100 people, you're supposed to stand out. And I stood out. And then when I got to talking, you know how I am, I'm all militant, I said, it's just a shame. Cleveland Airport is nothing like this. Where's the coffee machines? Where's the cots? Where's the hot chocolate? And yes, tell them, ma'am. No newspapers to read. I said, there's nothing to read. I said, thank God for the cell phone. I was taught, here come newspapers. Here came magazines, cots, chocolate, tea, everything. Distinction. We don't mimic them. We stand out over them. And as a result, they respect us. They look at us. That's dawah. Our identity is separate. It's different. It's distinct. The women, we're not oppressed. This is a misconception. Even Muslim women don't know that we're not oppressed. You're oppressed because you choose to be, because you failed to learn your religion. You don't know the lawful and unlawful. Do I look like an oppressed woman? Do I sound like an oppressed woman? I know my rights. I know my rights. Can't no man, woman, child, jinn on this planet oppress me, because my Lord liberated me. And I have that self-esteem, that self-confidence. Muslim women are women of confidence. Look at the Prophet's wives. I'm doing their stories for y'all. Look at the female companions. These were strong women who knew their worth. These were strong women, confident women. They weren't oppressed. You Muslims today are oppressed because that's where you put yourselves. This is what happens when we deviate away from Islamic knowledge. This is what happens when we deviate away from Islamic values. This is what happens when we cross the lines of our boundaries in our religion. Oppression. I never deviate away. I ain't oppressed when I walk out this door or anywhere else. Okay? So, our identity has to be intact. And so now, to see how well you guys understood what I was talking about today, I'm going to give you a quiz. Get ready for it. Getting ready to take a quiz. Question number 1. Abdul, he wears his pants below his derriere, and he also wears dreadlocks. This is a result of failure to display Al-Bara in regards to which of the following? Religious identity, intentions, religious boundaries, or culture. And it can be, I'm going to tell you, all of these answers. It can be all of these answers, but which one is best that it falls into? To be honest, it falls into all of them, but which one more than the others? Did he lose his religious identity? Was it his intentions? Was it his religious boundaries or culture? He didn't distance himself in regards to culture. Go ahead. Who wants to answer? It can be any of them, but which one mostly?
Failure to display his religious identity.
Okay, that can be it too. But there's one more so than that.
Religious boundaries was my second choice.
It's that too. But there's one even better than that. Dreadlocks, pants underneath the butt.
Culture.
Yeah.
That's culture. Exactly. Culture. All of this. But by violating his culture, it's not our culture to walk around looking nasty with them dreadlocks. It's not our culture to wear our pants underneath our behind. When you deviate from your culture and adapt somebody else's, this is how you lose your religious identity. That's how you violate the boundaries of your deen. But it all starts with the culture. So it starts with this culture, and then it leads to all the others. Good job. Good job. And how many of you young Muslim brothers walking around like that? Brother Ibrahim, where is he at? Let me look on here. Brother Ibrahim, you walking around with your pants down behind under your butt? Brother Ibrahim, you better pull them pants up. You better get them dreads out. Take away them dreadlocks, people. Okay, let's look at the next one. Next question. And I clicked the button. Let me know if that sound goes out, because every time I click that button, y'all say no sound. Okay, let me try this again. What about this? Savannah. And I'm not talking about you, Savannah. I got a sister here named Savannah. I thought about it when I made this quiz, but I'm not talking about my student, Savannah. I just made this name up. Savannah was allowed to hang out with the LGBT kids. And today, she still has many LGBT friends whom she loves and adores. This shows a lack of which of the following? Religious identity, intentions, religious boundaries, or culture. Again, it can be all of them, but which one does it start off with?
Religious boundaries?
Yes, of course.
MashaAllah, good job. Exactly, religious boundaries. Her parents should have put those boundaries up with her when she was a child. The boundaries should have been established that we don't hang out with LGBTQ. Okay? We don't go around disrespecting them as long as they don't impose themselves on us, but we also distance ourselves. But because her parents allowed her to hang out with those type of kids, now she's lost her identity as a Muslim, and she's adapted a culture opposite of her own. Y'all see how it all begins. For you parents, you got to make sure that your children have no non-Muslim friends. My mother didn't allow, I don't have any non-Muslim friends. My mother never allowed me to play with non-Muslims. She didn't. I wasn't allowed to go out and play anyway. But when I did go outside, I better not have been sitting around no non-Muslims. I had to be playing with my sister or tackling my brother with kung fu, sparring with my brothers. Okay, I could not play with the non-Muslim girls. No. She said, I don't want you to end up being like them. Okay, I didn't understand it as a kid. You know, reminded me of that Nina Simone song. Y'all remember that? See the little brown girl. Listen at this, guys. She's as old as me. Y'all remember that? She looks just like chocolate. Y'all remember that? Oh, mommy, can't you see? Remember that song, Fresno? We are both in first grade. She sits next to me. I took care of her, Ma, when she skinned her knee. Y'all remember that Nina Simone in the 60s? She sang a song so pretty on the jungle gym. When Jimmy tried to hurt her, I punched him in the chin. Remember? Can she come over to play dolls with me? We could have such fun, Ma. Oh, I see. That's what I grew up on. That's my nursery rhyme. But she wasn't the brown girl. She was the Kaffir girl. My mother raised me on that. Can she come over to play dolls with me? We could have such fun, Ma. My mother say, no, you're Muslim. She's not. Oh, I see. The 60s, civil rights movement. That's why I'm strong. That's the lullabies I grew up with. Malcolm X, Nina Simone. My mother always let it be known, you're not like them. Not because she looks like chocolate. The song says she looks just like chocolate, but with me is she doesn't look like me at all. I got a hijab on, a jilbab on. She's nothing like me. My mother made me learn that song. I was 6 years old. Oh, I see. So I never asked her, can I go play with her? Can I go over her house? Can that Kaffir come over my house? My mother never allowed me to mix. You're different. You're distinct. You're separate. They'll never accept you, Layla. They'll never like you because you don't look like them. You pray 5 times a day. They don't pray. My mother used to tell me, you take a stinging. They don't even wash their private parts. No, you can't come over. No, they can't come over. No. Nina Simone. That song was embedded in me when I was 6 years old. Because I started wearing hijab at 6. She sang a song so pretty on the jungle gym. When Jimmy tried to hurt her, I punched him in the chin. I'm going to stand up for what's right, justice. That part of the song, my mother say, you're going to stand up for what's right. If you see another kid being bullied, you see another kid being hit, Jimmy tried to hurt her, you punch him in the chin. You stand up for what's right. But can she come over to play dolls with me? We could have such fun, Ma. Oh, I see. Y'all get it? That's how my mother raised me. Music. Y'all see why it's battered in my mind? The 60s. Exactly. We got to set those boundaries. Set those boundaries with your children, guys. The 60s was a terrible era here in America because that marked the civil rights movement. You know, the oppression, the injustice of Black, white, Arab, Muslim. You know, there was a lot of good that came out of it, though. For those of us who grew up during that era, look at us. We're strong. That was the era of Khalid Yasin. Y'all love Khalid Yasin. That was his era. Okay? Hakim Quick. Y'all love Hakim Quick. He was with Malcolm X. That's his era. Look at these brothers. The old timers. That was their era. That's my era too. Then look at us. How do we all speak? We all speak passionately. Look at how Khalid Yasin talks. Look at how I talk. Siraj Wahaj. That's our era. Subhanallah. Speak out. Stand up. Oh, I see. Bring it back for these kids today. Okay, let's look at the next question. So this was what happened when we transgressed the religious boundaries. Letting our children hang out with non-Muslim kids, hang out with the LGBTQ, hang out with this. They lose their identity, and all of that, and their Islamic culture. What about this? Abdullah, he prays the way the Christians do by placing his hands together. This shows Al-Bara in regards to what? His religious identity, his intentions, his religious boundaries, or culture. And when I say he prays like the Christians, I mean he does this. How many of you know Muslims that do that? Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. I know a lot of Muslims that pray like that. And they say, well, go ahead. So which one you think
religious identity?
You guys agree with her? She said religious identity.
No, I think intentions or religious boundaries. I don't know.
Okay, what do you got? What do the rest of y'all think? She says intentions or religious boundaries. The first answer was religious identity. Abdullah prays the way a Christian does instead of the way a Muslim does. What is this? Anybody else? A different answer? Who y'all think is right? One of them is right. One of them isn't.
Intention.
No, y'all overthinking. Y'all overthinking. Intentions are for Allah. This ain't got nothing to do with about Allah. Abdullah prays the way the Christians do by placing his hands together. Is this the identity of how a Muslim prays? Or did he overstep his boundaries or culture? The correct answer is Shamsa, the religious identity. This is not in Muslims. This is, everybody knows this is Christian. This is the Christian identity. The Muslim identity is this way. This is my identity. I'm going to pray with my hands up. This is how I differentiate and distinguish myself. Remember, the Muslim identity is what distinguishes you. It's what separates you from anyone else. Why do I pray? Remember, the Prophet taught us we do the opposite of what the Christians do. We do the opposite of what the non-Muslims do. That's how Christians pray. We don't pray that way. We do this. So, good job, Shamsa. This is a violation of his Muslim identity. His Muslim identity. Nobody got it right on YouTube either. Subhanallah. Muslim identity. Good job, Zahara. Zahara, you had it right. Muslim identity. Good job, Zahara. Okay. And that leads to boundaries being transgressed. Whenever we fail to recognize what our identity is or should be, then we're going to transgress everything else. Okay. I think, let me see. Was that the last question? Yeah, that was the last question. So, alhamdulillah, guys, we have to work on our identity as Muslims. Learn the correct way to pray. Learn the correct way to dress. This is my identity. Learn that our culture is Islam. My culture is Islam. If Allah didn't say it, I don't care. If the Prophet didn't do it, I'm not doing it. That's my culture. My culture is to believe and do only what Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam command me to do, not nobody else. And I'm not going to transgress the religious boundaries, but we transgress them because we have no knowledge of Islam. We don't know what the boundaries are. A lot of Muslims don't know that they're not supposed to allow their children to have friends with non-Muslims. I knew this growing up. My mother taught me. I'd come home from school, Mom, I met a nice little girl. She was so nice to me. She didn't make fun of me. She said she liked my hijab. Mom, she's nice. That's when my mother put Nina Simone on. Wallahi, guys, I'll never forget that. I was in kindergarten. I run home. Mom, there's this girl in school. She said that I look so nice in my hijab. And Mom, she's so smart. She can sing. And when the other kids tried to tease her, I spoke up for her. Mom, can I have her come over? Can she play with me? Can she play with me? My mother said, I want you to check out this song. She turned on the stereo with Nina Simone. She said, listen to it. And I want you to tell me, can she come over here and play with you? I sat there and listened. I'm like, oh, I see, Mom. Okay. Identity. We put that identity into our children in the formative years. The formative years are the years of 6 years old. That's why I tell the Muslim kids here, my girls, the Sunnah follower girls, everyone should be wearing a hijab. If you have a daughter that is 7 years old, she should be wearing hijab every day. Every day she goes to school, she should have an hijab on, because the age of 7 through 10, those are the formative years. My mother formulated me during that time. She had me studying hadiths, learning the pride and being who I am, Muslim, because I had to deal with, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And you look at Layla, I was teased because I ain't black and my hair is red. Then I say I'm Muslim. Oh, you Elijah Muhammad. I'm not with Elijah Muhammad. Them people ain't Muslim. I don't believe in no devils being white and a starship beaming me up. I never fit in. I never fit in anywhere. Then I go amongst the Arabic people. Oh, she don't speak Arabic. You're Arab, but you're pretending that you don't know how to speak Arabic, because you can't look like that and not speak Arabic. I didn't fit in nowhere. Nina Simone. Oh, I see. I fit in with Allah. Okay. All right. Any questions or comments?